Did you know that 53% of HR leaders believe organizational design and change management is a top priority in 2023? Followed closely by employee experience, which comes in at 47%, and recruiting, which comes in at 46%. These areas within HR are areas that leaders think are essential. But it's not just that. We also have upskilling the workforce as part of learning and development, diversity and inclusion. All of these different areas can be a specialist area. So which area do you fit in? You probably clicked on this video because you might be thinking about moving into a different area, or you could just be a generalist right now. You could be a business partner. You could be just starting out in the field and you want to know what area suits me best. Well, the CIPD profession map does just that, as it actually sections out each of these specialities and expertise, and it will tell you, based on what level you're at in the CIPD, the types of skills that are expected of you and at that level. So we're going to cover the associate level and also the foundation level in today's video to help you understand what skills do you have right now which may suit a specific area, but also what skills do you need to develop if you want to get into a certain area. So if you want to understand what the CIPD profession map goes into detail with, then please keep watching this video. So the first specialist knowledge point that I want to talk to you about is employee experience. Now, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this is a very, very important topic at the moment, especially for 2023, and HR leaders really think that it's important that we drive change within this area. So this is all about the employee voice and how do we get that heard as HR professionals. What are we putting in place in order to ensure that we've got a culture of trust, a culture where employees are able to voice any concerns they may have, employees are able to have a say, but also what are we doing with certain experiences that employees are a part of when, for example, they join the organization. So onboarding, what is that experience like? And does it just start at day one and finish there? Or are we ensuring that it's a whole experience throughout the year or over a year and a half, for example? If there are any challenges as well around the employee experience, which have been voiced and employees want to action certain elements, but it's not completely possible maybe at the time, or there's a challenge, how as HR professionals are we able to input in that? What can we do in order to change a certain feature, a tool to create a better experience? So I'm going to look at 3 different aspects of the associate level and the chartered member level, as I want to become a chartered member of the CIPD. So this is something that I'm also looking at trying to improve right now within my job. So let's take a look. So at the associate level, 3 sections that stand out to me the most is how to assess management practices and behaviours and their impact on the worker experience, different elements of onboarding and how to administer them, and also different trust models and how they can be used to improve relations at work. On the chartered member level, what really speaks to me here is how to align and evaluate the worker voice tools and approaches and drive forward the outputs, which I think is definitely essential, because at the moment at work for me, I'm looking at our survey that we have each year and what can we do to actually ensure that there's more of a broader set of questions for the employees to be able to have more of a say in certain aspects of that. Also, how to design an integrated onboarding program, which I've spoken about onboarding so much on this channel. This is something that I'm actually working on at the moment. So this is great because when this actually does work out, which I do believe it will, based on the people I'm working with on my project team, I think it's going to be a great experience for newcomers. Also, how to build a culture of trust across the organization for workers and other stakeholders. So next up, we have employee relations. Now, this is ensuring that we have a positive relationship between the organization and also the employees within that organization. And as people professionals, it's important that we keep up to date with any employment law or labor law, so that when there is any if any cases arise, such as grievances, disciplinaries, or any cases around working, so let's say flexible working cases. It's important for employee relations specialists to understand how to deal with these types of cases in order for any conflict to be resolved, if it needs to go through the legal systems, when that's appropriate and when that's needed. And this is very important for employee relations specialists. So let's take a look at what the profession map says for the associate and chartered member level. So what really sticks out to me is how to apply your organization's people policies in a wide range of situations to support effective case management and employee relations practice, how to apply different dispute resolution techniques to resolve workplace conflict, and the evidence needed to support employee legal cases and labor disputes. And then for the chartered level, we have how to develop and review your employee relations culture to be resolution focused and improve business outcomes. How to apply and interpret employment law, labor law in a range of complex situations and mitigate risk. How the employment legal system works and how to prepare for and manage cases and labor disputes. So as you can see as well, there's a difference between associate and chartered member level. On the associate level, it's more how to apply. There's more how to apply and what's needed to support. Whereas with the chartered member level, you've got to develop new ideas when it comes to reviewing employment relation culture and develop potentially new policies to improve. So there is definitely a difference there. So it's associate is more apply, and then chartered is, okay, we need to start developing new ways of working, developing new ways of resolving challenges and conflict resolution. For diversity and inclusion, it is essential that all HR professionals, and to be honest, all employees, should really understand the importance of diversity and inclusion and why we need to ensure we have a diverse workforce within an organization. When you're a specialist within this area, you're dealing more with strategizing, creating new policy, and dealing with any challenges and leading on any initiatives to help build a diverse organization. A diversity and inclusion specialist mainly deals with building strategies and leading on different initiatives that can help make the workforce as inclusive as possible. So I'm going to go into the profession map and let's have a look at the associate and chartered member level aspects that you need to understand. So what stands out to me is different ways to enable the workforce to represent the communities it serves at a local, regional, and global level. How to identify and monitor bias and inequality through data and qualitative information, e.g. recruitment, progression, demographic data at each grade or level, and how to review and identify systemic bias and inequality in the organization using methods such as audits, pulse checks, lived experience reviews, and data. The chartered member level is how to drive change in your people practices to reflect changes in communities your organization operates in. How to use data and qualitative information, recruitment data, information from systemic bias reviews to enable change, which brings about greater equality. And how to carry out systemic bias and inequality reviews using diagnostic approaches, which directly leads to actionable change. So as you can see, between associate level and chartered member level, it's more so of a active change at the chartered member level. You are driving a initiative, or you're driving change within the area of diversity and inclusion, which actually reflects throughout the whole organization. So every aspect of the organization, from senior leadership downwards, are incorporating and embodying diversity and inclusion into how they work and their everyday lives within the workplace. So to be honest, for me personally, I am leading within a diversity and inclusion strategy piece in my organization. And I honestly believe right now, I'm still at the associate level. I'm trying to get to chartered member level where I'm going to drive actionable change. And that is a process for me. As you know, it's very challenging to change the culture of organizations. So I think it's important to, a skill that I think is important to have around this is resilience, and also courage to be able to be resilient when you are set with any challenges around diversity and inclusion, and why it should be something that, is thought about and really considered much more when it comes to objective setting, but also the strategy of an organization, and also courage to just be bold enough to mention what areas really need developing and what needs to be done now about that. Learning and development is very important within an organization, as it's understanding what are the gaps currently within the organization that we need to upskill on, what do we need to nurture, what do employees need to understand in more depth and detail in order to help them to grow, and how can we create different programs and initiatives to support them with that. So this is a very, very important aspect, and I think it's something that is definitely being considered a lot more in organizations for now, and also thinking about the future. So at the associate level, you'll need to understand how to apply adult learning and motivation theories in different learning contexts, the principles that underpin the design and use of face-to-face learning, and the principles that underpin the design and use of digital technologies in learning. At the chartered member level, you need to understand how to create a learning culture and environment that supports continuing professional development, how to engage with stakeholders to define capability needs and their implications for learning, and also how to integrate current and future trends in adult learning and motivation into the organization's learning approach. Now, for me personally, this is definitely an area that I'm very, very interested in. I would say that I am working at the chartered member level at the moment. I would actually say I'm working at that level because I am trying to bring in a new event that has not been done before, which is actually concentrating on the needs that the chartered member level is actually illustrating. So I think this is a really good for HR professionals listening to this, or anyone who's trying to get into the profession. The CIPD profession map is great for you to assess where you're at currently and understand what the gap is for you personally at the moment to get to the next level. And for me, learning and development is an area that's very dear to my heart, and I do think that it is where I'm going in the future, and the direction of my HR career is definitely in learning and development, to be quite honest. So organizational development and design is also another specialist area which is important, as I mentioned at the start of this video. And it's basically crucial that organizations constantly develop and design new strategies, put together new ways of thinking about how the organization is going to move forward in a whole and what that looks like. So this could look like many different things. This can even fall into having different departmental changes and maybe transforming different departments in order to thinking about the future of the business and how transforming different departments is going to help to get to the success of that. So organizational design is quite it is a big topic within HR, and this is what the profession map says about it. So at the associate level, you'll need to understand different organizational development and design models and their advantages and disadvantages. You also need to understand a range of evidence that can be used to assess and diagnose current state and inform design requirements and principles. And you also need to understand how to design good work at individual and team level. So who does what, how work is done, and the role of technology. And at the chartered member level, you'll have to understand a range of organizational and design and development, consulting and contracting methods and processes, and how to apply them in different contexts, how to apply a range of OD&D models and shape OD&D approaches, plans and culture, and also how to develop and apply design principles to align organizational elements such as strategy, structure and process. So again, when we look at the differences between the associate level and the chartered member level, it's more so evaluation and also developing different models within the chartered member level, whereas the associate is more designing using the evidence kind of you've got access to at the moment. So there is definitely a difference there in terms of membership levels. And you know, if that's something you're working towards, how can you become somebody who is able to come up with and develop different strategy in order to align with the organization when it comes to structuring how it works? So next up, we have people analytics, and this is when you are looking at data and how data relates to people issues. How can we use the data to solve people issues? How can we analyze specific data to improve different processes, to improve the ways in which we work? when it comes to people, in order for us to be more strategic in how we conduct these types of analyses. So with people analytics, this is a very important sector, I think, and something that's been growing constantly within HR, especially I would say within the next 5 years or so. People analytics is going to be bigger than ever due to the different technologies that we're seeing at the moment that are coming up, especially with AI. So I think people analytics is definitely a trend to look out for in 2023 and also in the future. So if this is something that you're interested in getting into, I do highly recommend you do your research and have a look into what people analytics could mean for you. So if we look at the associate level, you'll need to understand databases, their architecture, integration, and landscape. You need to know how to apply analytical consulting to people problems, and also how people data modeling is influenced by machine learning and statistical modeling. And then at a charter member level, you'll need to understand databases, their architecture, integration, and landscape, and also how to select which databases to use, how to apply an analytical consulting approach to problems to shape solutions, and how to generate and align people data with business intelligence data to generate insights. So again, the differences that I can see here from associate level to chartered member level is actually utilizing the data in order to shape solutions, not just analyzing it and seeing what the issues are, but okay, what can we now do with that data in order to create a new solution? So that's what the chartered member level is saying. And to be honest, I feel like now thinking about these different levels, some of these aspects you could already be doing at the moment. So it's just about looking at, are you someone who you feel can do the majority of what is in each one? And that can help you to assess how you go about getting your next membership level if you're part of the CIPD. Definitely something, as I've mentioned before, just even doing this video right now, and even thinking about what is it that I need to do now in order to get that chartered member level. What do I need to do in order to ensure that I'm ready for that? So next up we have resourcing, which is the attracting and recruiting of different individuals within the right roles. This is also part of workforce planning, understanding what is needed, what different skills and expertise are needed within specific departments, and ensuring that we're recruiting the right talent in order to fill those gaps. So if we look at the associate level, you need to understand how workforce planning impacts the resourcing agenda, the different sourcing approaches for passive candidates, and also how to conduct fair and objective assessments. And then when we look at the chartered level, it's how to use workforce planning data to inform resourcing approaches, different approaches to candidate pipelines and how to assess the value of different sourcing channels, and how to design and select assessment approaches for all levels in the organization. So with this one as well, I think it's very important to understand that you need to be able to understand the labor market, the market position that you're in currently, and also the unique people proposition and job analysis within your organization to ensure the roles they're engaging to wide ranges of individuals, and you're able to select the right individuals for your organization. So next up we have reward, and this is ensuring that employees who are in organizations are being rewarded correctly in line with the external market, and also ensuring what types of benefits are we providing. What are the variable pay options like? Are there any bonuses that employees are going to be getting? What is the right way of rewarding employees within organizations? If we look at the associate level, you need to understand your organization's reward packages and approaches and how to administer them. You also have to know how to create benchmarking data, working with salary and pay survey providers, and also have the different elements of executive remuneration as well. At the chartered member level, you need to understand how to design reward approaches to attract, motivate, and retain workers, how to quality check surveys and benchmarking methodologies and assess the factors determining reward, and also how to design individual executive remuneration packages and create new executive reward approaches also. So talent management, this is about understanding the talent in your organization currently, and are there any succession plans in place? Are you identifying the top talent and understanding what talent is needed to fill specific spaces and gaps within your organization to get you to the next level? It's all about assessing the different models that you have around talent within your organization, and how you look at talent. What are you doing to measure the talent of employees within the organization? And then when you understand the measurements of talent for certain individuals, how then are you monitoring their progress? How are you ensuring that you are nurturing the talent that they have? How are you ensuring that you are challenging them as well? Because, when it comes to people who are very talented, sometimes they can get bored of their role because they're not being challenged enough. So you've also got to work very closely with the learn and grow and learning and development team in this area to really ensure that you are nurturing your talent, but also understanding what type of talent, based on the external market as well and based on your internal needs, you need in the organization for you to successfully continue to grow. So at the associate level, you'll understand different approaches to defining, developing, and retaining talent on an individual and group level, tools to differentiate, assess, and review talent, e.g. the psychometrics or trend performance, and the approaches your organization takes for different talent populations. At the chartered member level, you'll need to understand psychological motivation and engagement tools and how to retain talent through differentiated talent offerings, how to design talent differentiation and assessment tools to identify and review talent, and also how to track and review the value of different talent populations. And finally, we have well-being, which is a really, really important part of nurturing the workforce, and also trying to create environments which help productivity, just by ensuring that we've got well-being initiatives in place. So there are professionals who are dedicated in this area to try and ensure that we're enabling an environment that allows people to be at their best. So at the associate level, you need to understand the impact that wellbeing essentials can have on individuals and organizations, how to identify the right wellbeing solutions, and how elements of an organization's system can impact wellbeing, e.g. job design, resources, culture, policies, management, or approaches. At the chartered member level, you'll also need to understand how to demonstrate the impact of getting wellbeing essentials right or wrong. So for example, in absence, ill health, talent attraction and retention data, or employee feedback. How to create an offering that covers a wide range of wellbeing needs. For example, physical, mental, financial, or collective, and is accessible to all. And also how to change elements of an organization's system to positively impact wellbeing. So I hope that this video has helped you to really understand what it is you need to become a specialist or an expert within an area of HR, as the CIPD profession map has stated. If you have not checked out part 1 and 2 of this video, where I speak about core knowledge and also behavioral knowledge from the CIPD map, then please check out those videos. I've linked it down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next video.